Hi everybody, thank you for joining me in the latest video for U-Boat Sim. This will cover updates to the alpha branch. If you're not yet receiving the alpha updates, just go to itch.io where you install U-Boat Sim. When you click install, choose the alpha branch. The alpha contains in-flight updates such as the ones I'm about to show you today, whereas the stable contains updates that are stable and ready to go for mass consumption. So just click alpha and get the latest, and itch.io will keep it updated for you. Let's jump in. So I'm going to presume that you've been keeping up with the latest updates. So I'm not going to go into all the differences between the last stable and this alpha. I'll just jump into basically the things that I'm releasing today. So the first item is going to be some automation. It's going to be a while before all the different systems are actually modeled and usable, such as the rudder, the diving system, the tanks, etc. So I wanted to let you guys actually explore the world and move the boat in the world without having to wait for all that to happen. So if you press Control, the cursor will be unlocked and you'll be able to access this menu at the top left. If you click on that button, you'll see that there are 3 systems that can be automated. We have the propulsion, the diving, and the steering system. For now, the diving and the steering systems are automated because there's no other way to interact with them. The propulsion is off by default, but you can enable it. Once you enable automation for the system, the boat will take over the diesels for now and will run them, so you don't have to actually start them up and throttle them up. This is a great example of how this game will scale and will accommodate a single player, up to 18 people in a single boat in multiplayer mode, and then multiple boats in the game world. You'll be able to automate any system that you don't want to be in charge of, and only focus on the things you're interested in the game. You'll also notice that we're adding tooltips, and these tooltips are localized. So if you have a different language enabled, the tooltips will be localized to your language. So we're going to build on the system for the UI as we continue to develop on all the different interactions. You press Control again for the mouse to be locked back in the game, and you can continue interacting with the boat. So let's see what the boat looks and feels like in the game. Let's turn the diesels on and spin them up to maximum RPM. So I do want to cover a few basics. Unlike other games that script the movement based on known tables, known values of a Type 7 U-boat or other gimmicks, U-Boat Sim is 100% physics-based. So we actually have a physics object in the game world constantly receiving collisions from the water, from the air, applying hydrostatic and hydrodynamic forces. I've gone into depth in that in other videos, but basically the game object is very dynamic and receives all of that. The rudder system, the propellers, and the hydroplanes are also dynamic objects. So when they actually move, such as the rudder, we are not scripting the angle of the boat, we're not scripting the turn rate. All we're simply doing is moving that dynamic object, we're turning it into game world, and we're letting the physics engine handle the calculations. We are optimizing all of these components to mimic the real-life U-boat. This is why this is called U-Boat Sim, because we're attempting to have as much accuracy as possible. But this is not a scripted game. Just want to bring that up there. The other thing I want to mention is that some of these systems are not yet fully baked. So the boat might feel a little bit weird, but that's okay, right? My point for this update was to let you actually use the boat, beat yourself if you'd like, hit other ships, what have you, but at least get moving in the game world to give you something to do. So now that we've seen how the rudder works, let's try and dive a little bit. And there are 2 things that are going to stand out. One is how quickly the boat dives. I did that just so you could start playing with it, so the tanks fill up almost instantaneously. And the second one is that we're still using diesels underwater. Since we don't yet have the electric engines modeled, that's a little bit silly, but it was a quick way to get you playing with the boat under the water. Now you'll see that depending on your desired depth, the hydroplanes will actually move up and down to tilt the boat. And just like I mentioned, the tilt of the boat affects the physics. We're not scripting anything. So the tilt is not scripted. All we're doing is removing that dynamic hydroplane in the game world, and the physics engine takes care of the reaction of the boat in the game engine. So eventually, when we have all these controls modeled and you're able to interact with them, when you move the hydroplanes, your movement will actually tell the physics engines your desire, and that'll be simulated under the hood. So no scripting here. Each compartment in the boat has its ballast, buoyancy, and weight calculated. So when a compartment floods in the future, you'll be able to actually see the physics engine react accurately based on the amount of water and the weight of that water within that compartment. So this should make for a really fun and realistic damage model that I can't wait to build and try out. So hopefully you guys like what you see here and you're interested in playing with it, and you consider subscribing to the Alpha channel and also joining us on Discord. A lot of these updates have been driven by the community's desire to actually do something in the game world, knowing just how far we have to go with all the other components. And hopefully you guys have fun just playing around with the U-boat for now, while we're busy building all the other components. Again, we've added this automation. It's very easy to turn on and off. If you want to take over control of the diesels, for instance, just turn it off, and now you have full access once more. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll make sure to keep posting Alpha channel updates, and you guys can keep abreast of both Alpha and Stable as we continue pushing out updates.